What up, good people? Welcome back, man, for another one. This is Bajillion58. Yeah, so we're just moving along. I'm gonna pick it back up where we left off yesterday here in the green. I'm not even gonna waste too much time, y'all. Time is 7:16 Friday morning, November 22nd, 2024. Without further ado, let's get right into it. As his father sat there, head down, busy at fixing the rod, he looked up at his son and said, "I have to see how long you can be serious this time." With those words, little Jacob seemed to go into a state of deep thought. His attention went back to the dark water. The tiny sparkling crystals were still there, everywhere. Staring closer, his mind began a type of meditation. He became fixated on the water and the beauty of it all. The boy had put himself in a trance. He was wondering, what was it exactly that had nearly pulled Daddy in the pond? He won't say nearly. What was it exactly that almost... He's not... The italics here represent his thoughts, so this is what he's thinking. So he wouldn't say nearly. Jacob wouldn't say nearly. He would say. Anyways, he was wondering what was it exactly that almost pulled Daddy in the pond. Was it still there? Oh, let me see. Is it still there? Is it still there? Is it? Is it still there? In the same spot? The same spot, not location. Yeah, so whenever you see italics, most of the time it's thoughts, and we don't think like the narrator, we think like we talk. So I had to change that. All right. He was wondering, what was it exactly that almost pulled Daddy in the pond? Is it still there? In the same spot? The yellow and orange float hadn't moved. It was probably the gator, the owner of the leathery eggs they'd seen near the path, or perhaps some type of aquatic monster that terrorized fishermen and ate little boys who were too slow to run away. Watching the water was soothing to Jacob. His worries about not being serious enough in order for his father to break down and finally get him a puppy had drifted away. On a ripple, the pestering thoughts and worries had left his mind. Or maybe those thoughts, I don't want to say or maybe because that leaves room for doubt. I want the reader to believe that an actual manifestation of him, of his thoughts as him, are on this cork. You know, the cork, the float that's attached to the line and the hook and the weight. So I got to change that. On a ripple, let me get this mic to make sure you guys can hear me. On a ripple, the pestering thoughts and worries had left his mind. On a ripple, the pestering thoughts and worries had left his mind. They had somehow transformed themselves and were now in the form of him. Little smiling, I don't want to say smiling Jacob either. Little content Jacob. What's another word? Content. Okay, so content means happy. So I don't want to say content. What's a word for, what's a word for, little, oh man, what's the word? What's a word for in one word for deep thought? Contemplating, Jay. Contemplating. Contemplating. Yes. Yeah, that's it. That's the word. All right. On a ripple, the pestering thoughts and worries had left his mind. They'd somehow transformed themselves and were now in the form of him, little contemplating Jacob. Contemplating, that's a lot of syllables. Let me see if I can find a shorter word. Contemplating is not bad. Little thinking, Jacob. Reflecting, Jacob. Pondering, Jacob. Pondering. Little pondering, Jacob. Pondering, that's 3 syllables. Contemplating, that's 4 syllables. I want to go with, and it's all about rhythm when you write. It's about rhythm. And I love this music, man. Let's say pondering. Let's say staring, gazing. Gazing is 2. Yeah, let's go with gazing. On a ripple, the pestering thoughts and worries had left his mind. They'd somehow transformed themselves and were now in the form of him, little gazing Jacob, sitting atop the float, a miniature Jacob sitting with his head down, chin resting on his fist. The boy was feeling different. Maybe this Jacob's mind still raced with thoughts as he sat there bobbing up and down, stranded in the middle of nowhere. In the physical, the boy's worries had faded away like a setting sun. Excuse me. All right, let's see. Maybe this Jacob's mind still raced with thoughts as he sat there bobbing up and down, stranded in the middle of nowhere. In the physical, the boy's worries had faded away like a setting sun. He no longer worried about getting a puppy. There were no worries at all. As the reflection of the sun, a fragmented image of the huge fireball now danced on the dark waters, and as trees began to sway in the distance from a breeze that seemed to come from nowhere, the boy did not see when his yellow and orange cork vanished. It was only when his rod leaped from his hands and onto the grass that his attention, still free of worry, came rushing back. Jake, you got something big. I see this self-corrected itself, yeah. His father shouted. Quickly, the boy left his bucket to chase the fleeing rod. Hurry up before it goes in the water. Without delay, he moved in an attempt to stop the darting rod, stamping down hard with one foot but missing. A second try did land on the handle, but the moving rod continued to slide, causing the boy to lose his balance. He fell to the ground, tumbling, then getting to his knees, bear crawling like his life depended on it. He managed to lean forward in time to grab it. Hold on, son. I'm coming. His father said before dropping his own rod. I got it, Daddy, Jacob hollered proudly. Hurrying on the scene, Henry dropped to one knee, with his arms wrapped firmly around the back of his son. The back of his son? With his arms wrapped firmly around his son. With his arms wrapped firmly around the back of his son. It's not going to be the back of his son. It's just going to be around his son. Lumberjack hands. Let me see. Lumberjack should be either one word or, yeah. Lumberjack hands engulfing Jacob's. The two of them held on tight to the rod. In the distance, the proud father saw that less than 50 feet away, and in the exact location the bait had been taken, what looked like two widely spaced eyes appear in the shimmering dark water. For only a moment, but what felt to be an eternity, everything seemed to have stopped. As they began reeling, Henry noted that the fishing line was beyond its max holding capabilities. He realized, or he remembered. Let me see. Henry noted. Okay, Henry noted. Henry realized. Henry realized the fishing line was beyond its max holding capabilities. Capacity. I think the word should be capacity. We'll leave capabilities. Let's see what capacity. Let's see what the holding capacity. Yeah, I think capacity is going to be better. So much you got to know when you write, man. And you got to have a good editor. Henry realized the fishing line was beyond its max holding capacity. Suddenly the creature began to spin furiously. All right. As they began reeling, Henry realized the fishing line was beyond its max holding capacity. Suddenly, the creature began to spin furiously. Water started splashing everywhere. "It's her!" I'm sorry, that's Henry. "It's her," said Henry. "It's gotta be the gator." Giving a little slack on the line, the two watched hopelessly as the inevitable happened. The line snapped. With the sudden break, the bow in the pole sprung back instantly, launching the remaining line from the water. Hook, line, and sinker were all still with whatever had taken the bait. Breathing heavy and laughing after being hit with a few droplets of pond water, the two stood there staring at the calming water as the lost cause. As the day went on, young Jacob was showing much maturity. There was no more playing around, even though he ached to tell his father about what he thought it was that had snapped the two lines. Despite his longing to be his normal self after the missed catch, while remembering his promise of good behavior, and after reattaching new tackle to his rod, he'd gone back to staring at the water. The boy found himself back out there atop the bobbing float. Totally bored now that all of the excitement had left, that very vivid imagination that some little boys possess. That little boys possess. Oh, it possesses. Jacob's little buddy, his subconscious mind, no wild stories about underwater creatures. Let me start that over. Totally bored now that all the excitement had left, That very vivid imagination that some little boys possesses, Jacob's little buddy, his subconscious mind. No wild stories about underwater creatures, no yearning to have a dog, just his mind was resting at peace, content with just being there. Okay, so I tried to use content earlier, and let's double check, but content means pretty much gratified, happy, satisfied. Okay, can be content now, I guess. Contented, pleased. Yeah, it can be. Content can stay. With just being there. Back on the cork, bobbing up and down as the day drifted away. Not long after the second gator or whatever it was, Henry Wallace managed to catch his fish. Not long after the second gator or whatever it was, not long after the second gator, let's see, incident. Episode, yeah. Not long after the second gator episode, or whatever it was, Henry Wallace managed to catch his first fish, a small brim. Throwing it back to grow seconds later, Jacob caught something similar. It was a slightly larger redbreast. As time moved by, and as thick white clouds moved in and out, the two went on to catch fish after fish. With no one else there sharing the pond, it quickly grew into a friendly competition between father and son. It had been something extra special about the day. The way the water shimmered, how the sun shined, how beams of light penetrated through some of those clouds while heating bare skin. Let's say warming. Yeah, warming. While warming bare skin. Unlike his father, Jacob hadn't worn a hat to protect his head and face. The sun was draining the boy of his rambunctiousness, thereby aiding in the calming effect. As the day had gone by, and as he'd been superbly focused on behaving, something special happened. Maybe it had been that particular location and the time of the year that had opened a portal to some other place. And yes, it might have been how deep the little boy had gone into meditation, a thing he'd never done before. But did so effortlessly that day. Alright, so I remember writing this note. Add something about the drink. Remember, he has his little cooler, his little thermos. I gotta implement that. So, and yes, it might have been how deep the little boy had gone into meditation, a thing he'd never done before, but did so effortlessly that day. It was more than that, much more, a combination of things. As the great Albert Einstein once said, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Okay, ultimately, father and son ended the day with a catch of 7 fish, 2 brim sandwich-sized, and 5 slightly larger than sandwich-sized redbreasts. As dusk set in and bait ran low, Henry was noticing his son's peace. After Jacob promised to be on his best behavior in hopes of receiving a dog, and the 2 bouts with that alligator or whatever it had been, The day had gone by perfectly for the man. Okay, so this is gonna be green now, y'all. We gotta move on. I was gonna read it over again, but I'm in editor mode, so whenever it's not gonna be a smooth read because I'm continuing to edit. But I am going to put in. Let's see. I gotta, it's the thing with the mushroom and the drink. I want to have Jacob sip on the drink, but let me tell you guys something, man. Writers do not have when you see a book. Save Miss Caroline. This is the book I was going to show you guys the other day. I made a video. No, I didn't show you. But anyways, this is Save Miss Caroline. Whenever you have a book this size, a lot goes into this. A lot of work goes into this. A lot of thinking goes into this. And if you have a job, if you have a family, a household, bills, you name it, it makes writing that much. I won't say hard because I know how words work. So, but I'll say it makes it that much more of a challenge. I have 4 novels published myself, written by myself, Anthony L. Kelly. So when you purchase one of these books, when you sit down and read one of these books, know that the work went into this. And if you see a mistake or two, hey, forgive me. And shout out to my daughter for this cover, man. Look at this cover. My daughter made this cover. Save Miss Caroline. Y'all can look this up on Amazon by Anthony L. Kelly. Anyways, I'll put that up later. It's been 22 minutes. I just highlighted this. Anyways, I gotta put the drink in. I gotta put the drink in before I forget. It had been something extra special that day. The way the water shimmered, how the sun shined, how beams of light penetrated through some of those clouds while warming bare skin. Unlike his father, Jacob hadn't worn a hat to protect his head and face. The sun was draining the boy of his rambunctiousness, thereby aiding in the calming effect. As the day had gone by, and as he'd been superbly focused on behaving, something special happened. Maybe it had been that particular location and the time of the year that had opened a portal to some other place. And yes, it might have been how deep the little boy had gone into meditation, a thing he'd never done before, but did so effortlessly that day. It was more than that, much more, a combination of things. As the great Albert Einstein once said, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. I gotta put it in there somewhere. Let me see some dialogue. It's her, okay, giving a little slack. I got it, Daddy. Let's see. Hurry up before it goes in the water. Quickly. All right, Jake, you got something. All right, so first of all, let me delete this note because I'm gonna put this somewhere else, and I don't want to. I'm gonna put it somewhere. I'm gonna put it back up here. Hold on, son. Without delay. All right. He was wondering. Okay, let's see. Oh man. Okay, let me make this black. What is this note? Have Jacob sip. Okay, right here. Alright, so delete comment. After his father sat there, head down, busy at fixing the rod, he looked up at his son and said, "I have to see how long you can be serious this time." With those words, little Jacob seemed to go into a state of deep thought. Okay, with those words, and after a sip from his canteen, I think I call it a thermos, but let's say canteen now. After those words, and after a sip from his canteen, little Jacob seemed to go into a state of deep thought. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna make this purple, so I know that I inserted that. No, I want to make this a highlighter. Yeah. All right. So now we'll go back down here. It's been 26 minutes, y'all. Appreciate y'all staying around, sticking around this long. We're gonna pick it back up here next time, and hey, it's been fun. Till next time, this is Anthony O'Kelly. Check out all my other videos if you made it this far. If you're on a long flight somewhere, if you are on a long drive somewhere, and you like the sound of my voice, and you're curious about the story, hey, keep watching. Anyways, hit that like, subscribe, share, comment. This is Anthony O'Kelly. Salute to all y'all. Happy Friday. Well, it'll be Saturday when y'all get this. Till next time, I'm out.